Cosatu says President Cyril Ramaphosa must clarify issues around foreign nationals during his State of the Nation address on Thursday. This comes after the Department of Home Affairs published a new critical skills list which identifies fields in which immigrants will be prioritized. Matthew Parks is Cosatu's parliamentary coordinator, and he joins us now. Good afternoon, Matthew. Thank you very much for joining us. So you believe that there should be policies and clear policies on foreign nationals' employment in certain sectors?
Well, look, there's been a lot of media discussions since yesterday's article where government said they're looking at introducing certain restrictions on migrant labor in certain sectors of the economy. So it's difficult for us to kind of respond to the specifics because there's been no formal tabling of a paper at NEDLAC for us to engage on the actual details. But we had engagements last year at NEDLAC on the critical skills list that the Minister of Home Affairs signed off on last week. We are a bit concerned about some of the professions listed on it. For example, high school teachers, university lecturers, researchers, policy managers, and call center managers. Those are skills we think are available locally. There is government programs, for example, on teachers and lecturers to skill local university graduates, for example, to provide those kind of necessary personnel for those professions. And I think also taking into the background that we have an unemployment rate of 46%. We have a much higher unemployment rate for young people. So I think we need to have a lot of discussions on it to find what is the right balance, what is the right approach. But plea for our members that we have a huge unemployment rate and we need to address that as quickly as possible.
There's, as you rightfully mentioned, there's quite a lot that is being spoken about. The Home Affairs Minister was on the channel this morning speaking to my colleague Ayanda Nyati, but I'm curious, from the engagements that you speak about that you had last year, what was your input?
Sure. Look, so we haven't discussed what has been the media headlines for the most of this week around restricting migrant labor in certain sectors. I haven't had that discussion yet. We must see what does government put on the table. But we can say that already in law, you already have certain regimes in place. So, for example, if you want to employ a migrant worker, the employer is required to provide proof that there's no local worker who is available to fill that need. The Department of Labor must certify that. But what we see on government is a lack of capacity to enforce laws. We see many employers simply choose to ignore laws. So I think the starting point for any discussion with government would need to be, what is government going to do to capacitate itself to ensure the enforcement of laws? So I think for us that is a critical thing. On the critical skills list, we had raised significant concerns last year at NEDLAC with government. We felt, for example, there was no need to include nurses there because many of our nursing trade unions have raised concerns with us about the large number of unemployed nurses, unemployed doctors. So we had managed to remove many of those professions from the skills list because there is local workers who can provide that skill quite easily. But I think for us, we need to have a discussion. Government needs to come out quite clearly to say what is its proposals so we can have an engagement and find what is the right approach going forward. But always, as Cosatu, we get our mandate from our workers. We get our mandate from the huge amount of South Africans who are unemployed. And this really is a ticking time bomb.
I'd like to maybe explore this issue of an audit. So in terms of us knowing, particularly to your point where you say that some employers are found guilty of not considering locals first, have we done an audit in terms of that particularly? And I appreciate that maybe your workers will come and tell you one story, but are we then, satisfied, or have we satisfied ourselves through an audit that can actually prove that this indeed is the situation?
That's actually the very question we've been asking government. When they came with the critical skills list last year, we asked them for an audit to show us that in this profession, this is the need of the economy, this is the amount of local workers who can provide that skill, this is the training program of government to provide that skill. And on most fronts, they could not provide it. And at times, it really speaks to government not speaking to each other. So, for example, to put teachers on a critical skills list doesn't make sense when the Department of Education has got a training program to train teachers, when you have 25 universities, many colleges available which can provide that skill, when you have many unemployed teachers. Similarly, around university lecturers, the Department of Higher Education has a program to mentor, to invest in young university graduates so they can become university lecturers. And it doesn't make sense then to place university lecturers as part of a critical skills list. So at times that's one of our concerns, that we need to look at how can we invest in training programs for young people locally, for workers. How can we help place them with companies where there is a shortage of such skills, and how do we make sure all these different efforts speak to each other? And we don't find that right now with government, if we can be honest.
Anything else that stands out for you that you look forward to in terms of the State of the Nation address on Thursday?
Look, first, the major thing for the State of the Nation address is that we have an unemployment rate of 46%. The economy is in a deep recession. Many SOEs, municipalities, departments are in real danger of collapsing. So we'd hope to hear from government about what is going to be done to turn the economy around, what has been done over the last year since the last SONA, what success have we made, where have we not succeeded. We think there's a real need to focus on unemployment. Can we double the presidential employment program so we can create 2 million badly needed jobs? Can we extend the 350 COVID-19 SOD grant? We think we must do it and see how can we increase it to the food poverty line. But also we need to assist ESCOM to provide reliable and affordable electricity to the economy, to workers. We need to save Metro Rail and Transnet, which are critical to getting workers and to getting our agricultural, mining, or commodities exports to the markets on time. We need to tackle corruption and to stop the loss of billions of rands from the fiscus every year. So there's quite a bit of work that needs to be done, and workers have patience, but it's not unlimited patience. They don't expect miracles overnight, but they expect to see progress, expect to see real changes for the better, and we don't have much time left. We have elections in 2 years' time.
Matthew Parks is Cosatu parliamentary coordinator. Thank you very much for joining us this afternoon, and we wish you a safe trip as you get on the roads.